Hi everyone.
G'day.
Welcome to Parkside Online. We are so glad that you're joining us. I think our discussion is going to be pretty exciting.
Yeah.
As we talk about deeper waters, we hope that you will encounter Jesus.
Yes, we want to start our conversation tonight by exploring when we are told how to do, let's say our job really. I mean,
Or just what to do.
well, for some of us, yes, being even told what to do is a dangerous journey.
Mm-hmm.
How do you respond when someone tells you to do your job? Whatever
It's
that
not
job might
about
be.
to do it, it's how to do it.
Oh, how to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
I don't like it. I don't really like anyone telling me what to do anyway. And I've got a bit of a contrary personality. You know, if you say yes, I'm likely to say no.
Yes.
But I really don't like it, especially when someone perhaps is telling me how to do what I need to be doing, who actually has never done it. Or who is new on the scene and hasn't seen that what I've been doing has actually been going quite well and is
Yes,
that's frustrating. I think that is the thing, where someone doesn't really know what they're doing.
Yeah, when working in construction, there was a meme that got a lot of airplay, particularly amongst people who've been working for a while, and it's a picture of someone quite young with a hard hat and a high vis and a thick folder, thick binder, and the caption just reads, "I don't know how to do your job, but my book tells me you're doing it wrong." And that seems to resonate quite a bit. I don't think we ever like it, and particularly not when we're tired. And it's just not a good thing. And as you're watching this, perhaps you can relate. Perhaps you've had someone walk up to you and tell you how to do a job that you feel you know how to do quite well, and that might be professionally, it might be you're volunteering somewhere, might be in a family context. It can be quite confronting, particularly when you feel like you know what you're doing and you are not sure of the other person's credentials.
Yes.
And using that as a bit of a launch pad, we're going to explore the scriptures together, draw a bit of inspiration from a story that Luke writes in the Gospel of Luke. And we're going to pick it up in chapter 5. And just simply says this: one day, Jesus was preaching on the shore of the Sea of Galilee, and some Bibles might say Gennesaret. Still refers to just a small lake in the north of what was then known as Israel, near what is now currently Syria. And it was renowned for supplying the area with a lot of fish. So a lot of people fished there. Seemed to be a place where there were big storms as well. So, but also a place that was actually quite fertile because the Sea of Galilee sits below sea level. And so the plants that grew there seemed to just produce fruit because they didn't cop the heat that higher areas got. Anyway, that's where this story takes place. And so great crowds pressed into Jesus to listen to the word of God. It's important to note that when we're talking about this, the word of God is a message from God, not that Jesus was necessarily unrolling a scroll and reading from it there. He noticed that the two empty boats were at the water's edge, for the fishermen who had left them and were washing their nets. Stepping into one of the boats, Jesus asked Simon, the owner, to push it out into the water. So he sat in the boat and he taught the crowds from there. Now, what do you notice about the fishermen just in that little bit that we've read there?
That they had finished for the night.
How do you know?
Or finished for the day. They said that they had been fishing all night and they were cleaning their nets.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like packing up their stuff, I guess. That's what they would be doing.
Yeah. And so just to clarify, this is not throwing a net in, a line in, but this is actually heavy duty. We throw heavy nets in. Hopefully the current drives the fish into the net and then manually haul up. So this was hard work, and clearly these guys had been going at it all night. And can you imagine at the end of your shift, at the end of your work day, whatever that looks like?
You're actually preparing to clock off.
Well,
you have clocked off.
You've clocked off, you know, the tools that you need. You're in the process of cleaning and putting away. You've probably already worked out the processes that you need to follow for your next day or your next shift. And then someone comes up and says, just before you go, favourite expression, particularly if you might be a retail worker, you know,
Yeah. Or even like where I used to work and it was, with computers and design and stuff, you'd be shutting everything down, put everything away, and it's like, can you just do this one thing? And it's like, I have to start everything back up.
Yeah,
again.
you've hit the magic button on the computer, the screen's gone blank, and then, just before you... Not a good thing. And I think I could empathise with these guys just going, nah. But they don't. They say, yeah, sure, you can borrow my boat, mate.
Yeah.
That's fine. Well, and it's not just borrowing the boat. Like, someone has to sit in the boat and steer the boat and guide the boat and whatever. But they're at the end of a long, hard physical night. And, and so then this teacher, this wandering teacher, says, I want to sit in your boat. And when he had finished speaking, Jesus says to Simon, now, go out to where it is deeper and let down your nets to catch some fish. So not only has he asked them to borrow the boat, but he's actually now saying, I'm this guy who just walks around and talks to people. I want to tell you how to fish.
And they've just gone, we've already done it. We're finished. We didn't catch anything.
Let's keep going. He says, Master, someone replied, we worked hard all last night. So that's number one. We worked hard. Number two, we didn't catch a thing.
Yep.
And there's nothing better than doing your best at something and then it not working and you're just like, this is a waste, like...
Get some rest, try again tomorrow, not right now.
Yeah. I was working on a job and I had a few things lined up and I just needed to place this one... It's called a cap, but it's just a paver.
Yeah.
And so I put it down on the top of the stair and it just wasn't quite sitting right. And so I just gave it a tap with a rubber mallet that I have. And as I tapped it, it cracked in half. And as it cracked in half, I saw the hour and a half that it would take me to get one more. I saw the delay that would cause to then the next thing that I had scheduled. And then I saw the delay that it would just... And I'm like, I'm done. I'm finished. No more. And it's at this point that Jesus actually says, no, just put your nets out. Just put your nets out. And I wonder how you would respond in that moment. I think it's easy just to say no.
Yeah. I'm done. I told you.
Yeah.
You didn't have any luck? No.
Yeah. And in a retail setting, it's very understandable. Sorry, read the sign, we're closed.
Yeah.
Can I grab a coffee? No, we're closed, Mum, can I just do this? No, that time is finished. And there are times when we need to, but as we think about life, it's often the moments that matter that seem to present as interruptions to our lives.
Yep.
When we have the next thing locked in, when we feel like we have done what we can and we have emotionally and mentally moved on, it's often then that God actually shows up and asks us for something more, asks us to take a step of trust that goes beyond our resources, beyond our abilities. It may be that you feel the nudge to take a trip and you feel like you're at the end of your resources and God says, trust me. I know someone who was weighing up whether they were going to go for a training course, and they had no money at all, but they felt inside, we've got to do this, and it was 10 months, and it involved overseas travel and involved accommodation, and they made a decision. They were just going to not tell anyone, but they were just going to set up a bank account. And within 3 months, the money to cover the trip, the course, and accommodation all came in because they were willing to trust God beyond their resources. And
amazing.
Well, and as we read the story here, it just says, Master, we worked hard all night, didn't catch a thing, but if you say so, I'll let down the nets again. And this time, their nets were so full of fish that the nets began to break. A shout for help brought their partners on the other side of the boat, and soon both boats were filled with fish and on the verge of sinking. So this is just an abundant thing. As we launch into this year, some of us may be reflecting and looking back on last year. I hope you find some things to celebrate from last year. You may also find in your reflections some things that you just need to leave in last year. And it seems like a lot of people are feeling drained and flat. In a lot of ways, I think for us, this last year was perhaps one of the hardest years that we've been through. It's challenging. And as you look ahead, I'm not sure how you feel. It can be a bit overwhelming. But I want you to ask yourself this: what is the deeper water that you are being invited to swim out into? Because the thing with deeper water is the currents actually get stronger. Took my girls to the beach. Everyone's fine splashing about in ankle deep water. I don't know if you've ever done this.
Solid ground.
Well, but I've even done it. You stand there and you just watch the waves come in, and you sink down because the water is sucking back out. You sink down because some of the sand's getting sucked back. You sink down, but you're fine because it's ankle deep. Oh, I just lift one foot and I'm okay again. But then when you go out into deeper water, that same current has the power to actually bodily move you, to drag you out. When you step out into deeper water, the amount that you know versus the amount that is unknown increases. That's not a pleasurable experience for you.
No.
And if you've ever been out in deep water, and you've looked down and you've seen a shape underneath you, that is a very frightening thing.
So much uncertainty because you can't grab a hold of anything, you're just kind of treading water. It feels so uncertain.
And for me as a spear fisherman, when you dive down under the water, the deeper you go, the more pressure there is. And so you have to clear your ears, otherwise you actually get pain and you can actually rupture things. You can feel the pressure on your body. It's challenging. But what we see here is in the invitation to push out into deeper water, that's where this memorable moment comes in. It's where these fishermen see this wandering teacher has something more to offer. That he has something to say about their profession, about their lives, that will bring something radical. And I don't know how you feel about that, but you may be a teacher watching this. What's the deeper water that Jesus is asking you to step into this year? As you watch this, you maybe just relationally in a place where you feel worn, and yet you sense an invitation to something deeper. I don't know, and honestly, we're not here to try and tell you what God is saying to you, but what we are telling you is that Jesus invites us in the same way as his first followers. He's inviting us as we seek to follow him to take a step of faith, a faith that believes beyond what we feel is possible, beyond what we think we can achieve on our own, and to trust Jesus with the deeper water. And I think it can be scary, as we read on this story. Peter's response, the fisherman, when he sees it, is he actually says, God, this is too much for me. You're too much for me. Just leave me alone. And I think when we take that step, we can be overwhelmed, sometimes with fear, sometimes with shame, and we feel like, what's been happening? But there is this moment that is waiting for us on the other side of that. And in fact, Jesus responds here and he says, don't be ashamed, don't be afraid, just come and follow me. And when we experience the power and the love of Jesus in our lives, it can be life-changing. We can see things from a new perspective. We see ourselves from a new perspective. We see those around us from a new perspective. And it's an invitation to continue into the deeper water, following the one who knows the way through. And so there is this invitation here, right at the end of this chapter, that just says, come, follow me. And we want to extend that invitation tonight, that You may be feeling like the fisherman, the nets are washed, I'm done here. And yet have had the experience that you are being invited into something more, perhaps even something beyond your resources. You may feel like you've done what you can. And even as you're watching, you already know the next step, but you are recognizing that it is deeper, that there's more pressure there, there's more uncertainty there. That doesn't mean that that's not where God is inviting you to move to. And so if you're ready at the start of this year to say, Jesus, I want to follow you, give me your life. I recognize that may mean going into deeper waters. I recognize that may mean that you're going to lead me somewhere beyond even what I feel is capable. If that's the choice that you're wanting to make as you're watching this, then we'd invite you to just start this year with a simple prayer of faith. And that is to say, Jesus, I give you my life. Give me your life. And that's 2 sentences. Your commitment. Jesus, I give you my life. That may be our fears, it may be our weariness. I trust you with what's next. Give me your life. And so let's pray that right now. Jesus, I give you my life. Give me your life. Jesus, I give you my life. Give me your life. And if you prayed, may you experience the incredible knowledge, the incredible nearness of Jesus in your life. May you know the challenge and the joys of deeper water this year. We would love to support you any way we can. If you want to contact us, just leave us a comment on YouTube. If you haven't already, head over to Parkside Appen and subscribe, and you see all these when they come up. Jump on our social media channels and let us know. We'd love to pray for you. Thanks for tuning in. God bless you.
Bye.